This is what you cannot do when pattern testing. Hi, I'm Anna from Miss A Crochet, and today I'm going to be embodying my professors and giving you all a lecture about pattern testing. I have been pattern testing for a year and a half, I think. I've pattern tested 15 to 20 patterns, I think. I have also hosted, I think like 10, maybe less. I don't know. I've hosted pattern tests, so I have been on the other side. I have experience pattern testing, and I have experience picking pattern testers and having people test my own patterns. Okay, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I was not a good pattern tester when I started. I was a complete newbie. I was just doing like pattern tests for friends. I was not good. I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of the mistakes that I'm going to talk to you about and tell you not to make. And on the flip side, I've also had people pattern test for me, and people that pattern test for me have also made these mistakes. Woo, 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 warning, warning. I am not an expert. I really just wanted to make this video so I could send it to my future pattern testers. I'm totally kidding. I really wanted to make this video because when I was first starting out as a pattern tester or an aspiring pattern tester, I had no clue what to do, how to get into like that group of people, or what was expected, what were the expectations. I had no resources. So today I want to become a resource for people that want to start pattern testing. And full disclosure, this is not an end-all, be-all, life-death, cutthroat, black-white situation, okay? This is my experiences as a pattern tester and as a pattern designer who has utilized pattern testers. This is not like it has to be this way. This is just what I have learned from my experiences. 2 years ago, I was pretty much applying to any pattern tester call I found. At least that was amigurumi. And I was like constantly never getting selected. The only people like that first selected me were all friends that I had made. I do all of my pattern tests through Instagram. That's the only place really. I mean, I've heard some people do them through Ravelry or Ribbler, but I think Instagram is the place to do pattern tests. That's where I do all my pattern tests. So all my advice really kind of revolves around Instagram and how you present yourself there. First things first, you have to have a dedicated crochet account. I have seen it in people's rules and lists for the application. You have to have a dedicated crochet account. Yet I have seen and I've had so many personal accounts apply to be pattern testers, and I have to turn them down just like a lot of other designers. I think personally, and probably for a lot of other people in the crochet community, we want to be able to say that our patterns were tested by crocheters, not people who have their personal account, who occasionally crochet and occasionally post about it. I want to be able to say this pattern was tested by these crocheters, these people that have a dedicated account and have dedicated time into crocheting. Also, another thing, having a dedicated crochet account means that you have a portfolio for designers to look at. Designers want to know what you've made. Do your vibes match their vibes? Is the aesthetic the same? What level of crocheter are you? Are you a beginner, intermediate, or advanced? A lot of designers like to have a different mix of pattern testers. They want some beginners, they want some intermediate, and then they want some advanced people that can really give good feedback. But they also want to know, can a beginner pick up their pattern and crochet it? Designers also want to know, what kind of yarn do you use? Do you use plush? Do you use chenille? Do you use cotton, acrylic? What do you use? And is it the kind of yarn that they like to use, or is it a kind of yarn that would be good to have somebody test because it's a yarn that maybe the designer doesn't use? And most importantly, what do your pictures look like? If you don't have clear pictures with good lighting, good luck. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's not going to happen. I had some of the most atrocious pictures when I was first starting out, and I never, ever, hardly ever got selected to pattern test. I was lucky because I had friends that picked me, and even then, my pictures were not very good. Invest the time in creating a good grid. Learn how to take good photos. Learn how to edit. I know it's really freaking hard and it's really difficult. I live in Minnesota. It's dark like all the time, it feels like. I don't know how other people do it. I am not blessed with having a house with the most open windows and beautiful lighting, but there are things that I can do. I know it's not all about aesthetics, but when you're looking at somebody's portfolio, seeing nicely taken pictures, nice composition really does matter. And heck, that's a lot of the reasons why I pick some of my testers. I can see that they are dedicated to creating a beautiful grid and taking clear photos that will look good when I post the tester appreciation post or when I share the pattern. Okay, so you've created your dedicated crochet account. You've been posting very, very good crochet items and good pictures. You're applying to a bunch of pattern tests. You're thinking you're going to get picked and you're not. Why? I promise you are not getting blacklisted. I mean, unless you are, because you said you would pattern test for someone and then they sent you the pattern and then you ghosted them and stole the pattern, then maybe you are getting blacklisted and this video probably isn't for you because obviously you don't really care about pattern testing. But I promise, if you're just like a normal person like the rest of us, you aren't getting blacklisted. And I'm going to be brutally honest here. You probably aren't getting selected because you're making mistakes in your application process. When you are applying for a pattern test, read all of the instructions, all of them. I don't care. Read the hashtags, read everything. Everything is important in tester calls and applications. If the application says to comment a mushroom emoji, you better freaking comment a mushroom emoji, because pattern testers like to do this little thing where they put in a little instruction that says, comment a mushroom emoji or comment what color you're going to use. And if you don't do that, you're not getting picked. The end of story. That's it. Good night. The end. Pattern testers really like to do this. I've caught on to it. I've done it in my tester calls. And if you don't comment the stupid emoji or if you don't tag 2 people, you're not going to get picked, because if you can't follow instructions in the pattern tester call and application, how can I trust you to follow instructions when you're pattern testing? How can I trust you that you are going to read everything in my pattern and provide clear feedback and catch mistakes if you can't even catch a simple instruction in the application? And after I learned about this, I seriously started doing it in all of my tester application calls, and you would be surprised at how many people don't do it. They'll miss it, they'll skip it, they purposely don't think it's important, and they don't get picked. I know it seems kind of like petty or tricky, but you would seriously not believe how many wonderful, good crocheters have applied for my pattern test and other people's pattern tests and have just skipped it and then not get picked. Like, there are some people that will apply to some of my pattern tests within the last couple of years. I haven't hosted one for a long time, but I'll go and look at their stuff and look at their account and be like, oh my God, this person's great. They crochet great. They use the same yarn as me. And then I'll go and I'll check, their comment again. They didn't comment a mushroom. And I'm like, no, you were the chosen one. I loved you like a brother. I don't know. It's a quote from Star Wars. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then, nope. If you can't follow directions on the application and you can't find these tiny little, not secret rules, because obviously they still have them there for people to do. But if you can't find this thing or remember to do it or, see it and then go back and edit your comment, how are you going to test a pattern? I'm sorry. It's true. It's true though. I have applied for so many tester calls and they'll be like, comment a purple heart. And I would be like, okay. And then after I, learned about that trick, I was like, that's genius. And I'm going to do it all the time because it totally makes sense. So when you're applying to tester calls, you have to be so careful. Comment the mushroom emoji, tag 2 people, share it to your story, make sure you're following the account. So many people have applied to my pattern tests and literally the first rule or thing in the application is to save the post and follow me. And then I go and see if they're following me and they're not following me. I'm like, bro, what? It's so bizarre, but I'm serious when I say read everything. And then this goes into when you get picked for pattern tests. You got picked for a pattern test. You commented that freaking mushroom emoji and you got picked. Now what? Look at me when I say this. You're going to read. You are going to read everything. You are going to read everything, and I mean everything. If the pattern designer has a little copyright thing at the bottom of the pattern, you're going to read that and make sure that they spelled the word copyright and their own name correctly. I know it's their own name, but there are seriously times when I have written my own name wrong or typed it in wrong or done something, or I, copied and pasted the document and then it had something or it had the wrong year. You're gonna read everything. I don't care if you don't like reading. Pattern testing isn't for you then. Do you know the stitch abbreviations? No, you do not. Read them all. I want you to see what letters do they have capitalized, and if they do have capitalization, is that carried out throughout the entire pattern? I have had so many people that I've pattern tested for. They type it, capital, half double crochet in the abbreviations, and then I get to the pattern and it's lowercase. And I'm like, whoa. I know what that means, but it doesn't look professional when you have it saying this is the abbreviation and then it's wrong in your entire pattern. You got to read everything, look into everything. Look at me when I say this. No typo, no suggestion or mistake is too small to mention. Mention everything. Look at grammar, look at spelling, look at punctuation. If you don't second guess your ability to spell while you're pattern testing, you aren't pattern testing. If something sound a little weird, circle it. Literally write, this sounds weird. Or write, rewrite this. Or just circle it and write a question mark, something to say, this isn't really perfect, it could be reworded. All right, up next, for when you're actually crocheting, you're gonna have to count. You're gonna have to count every row. You're gonna have to count every stitch in every row. Does the pattern accidentally go from row 18 to row 21? Yeah, make a note of it. Fix it. Write it down. Make it known. Now, this part can really suck because sometimes you'll be crocheting, you'll be counting, you get to the end of the row. Why do I have 28 stitches? Look at the pattern. I need 30 stitches. Do you know what that means? It means you have to frog. Frog the row and redo it. You get 28 again. Okay, something's going on, right? It happened twice. Look at the pattern. Count the stitches in the pattern. I constantly am just like counting how many stitches are in the pattern. I will go single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, and I will count them. Now, if you do that and the math lines up on the pattern, crochet it again. You get 28 again. I'm sorry, but if it was me, and if I was testing, or if I was having people test, I would expect you to probably frog some more rows and try and figure out what the heck is going on. If you frog it all, restart it, get back to that same point, and you have that same issue, then message the designer. Because obviously you tried it. I think at that point you would have frogged it, you've done it again. You would have done it, you would have frogged it and done it again, frogged it and done it again, and then frogged it and done it again. You would have already tried it 4 times. Then you can message the designer and they'll be like, that's really weird. And most times they'll say, stop crocheting, I'll start making it and I'll see what happens. And then sometimes, I think once or twice this happened to me, they go, oh my gosh, yeah, you're totally right. I got the same stitch count, let's change this. There is no shame in making mistakes or not being able to figure out a part of the pattern. And there is no shame in asking for help. This is showing the designer that, okay, something needs to change, something needs to be reworded, or I need to double check and make sure that I did this correctly. Another thing I would like to say is, let's say you get accepted to be a pattern tester and then something happens and now, you won't be able to finish it. Just tell the designer so they can find somebody else. Don't Don't try and like force yourself into doing it or, you know, stressing out over it. Designers are chill. I mean, we're nice people occasionally. I mean, I'm not. I'm a known hater, but I quoted that from a TikTok. Just let them know. And if you need more time, if you're testing the pattern and you know something happens and you need more time, just ask for more time. They will easily give you an extension. If they won't, probably it's because they already gave you a lot of time to do it, and that kind of is on you. Just don't whatsoever ghost the designer. It's really unprofessional and it looks really bad. I've heard horror stories where people select a tester, they, you know, the tester's super excited, they send them the pattern, and then crickets. That person pretty much just stole the pattern and like blocked the designer, won't respond to any of the things. Don't do that. Don't be a shitty person because that will get you blacklisted. I can promise you that. If somebody did that to me, I would not let that fly. I'm literally wearing the perfect shirt. It says, I believe in holding grudges, I'll heal in hell. All right, let's say you read everything. You counted all of the stitches, all of the rows, and you made the plushie, and it was super easy. If you didn't catch any mistakes or find any issues, which has happened to me while pattern testing because I've pattern tested for some really amazing designers, simply saying that, oh, it's a great pattern, I really loved it, is not going to cut it. It's not helpful at all. As a pattern designer who has hosted pattern tester calls and who has had kind of people say the same thing, I don't want it. I don't want that. I could literally have just said that to myself. Just been like, wow, you did such a great job, Anna. I know, thanks, Anna. No, that's not what we want. Seriously though, designers really want to know what worked and what didn't. If everything worked, say something that really specifically worked. Seriously though, designers really want you to provide real feedback. And designers, make sure your testers know you have this expectation. You want detailed feedback. You want to know all of their thoughts about the pattern. If everything was great and you love the pattern, tell the designer specifically what was so great about it. Were the pictures really helpful? Was the formatting of the pattern really easy to read? Just provide something other than the most bland thing, which is, it was great, I really loved it, thanks for letting me test. If you really struggled with the pattern or had to frog it a bunch of times, tell the designer. If there's something about the pattern format that makes it really hard to read or hard to print, tell them. I promise you will not offend or upset the pattern designer unless you do this. I have had testers do this to my patterns, and I did it a little bit when I started too. But please, do not change the pattern. Do not whatsoever change the pattern. Now, the exception, even then, I don't even want to say it, but I will if the leg or arm or ear, this is a snout. If the leg, snout, arm, or ear does not line up by like a couple of stitches and it's really crooked and noticeable, then and only then can you change it. And I'll be honest, even then, don't. What you're gonna do is you're gonna make it so, you know, the legs line up, and you're going to write in your feedback, I had to move the leg, let's say, 2 stitches. You can only do this under the condition that you tell the pattern designer that you moved the leg over by how many stitches specifically, and that they should make a note in the pattern that depending on some people's yarn or tension, some stitches may have to be moved to ensure that, in this case, the legs line up. Do not tell the designer that they should change the entire pattern because your plushie's legs were off by 2 stitches. That's not how the world works, honey. That's just not. Not everything is for you. I'm sorry. Now, if like all the designers experience that issue, maybe, yeah, that's something to really consider. But if it's just you, don't do that. Now, no tea, no shade. That's probably not the sign for shade, but I just think of like sunglasses or hats. I mean this pattern tester no harm. I don't, I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to use this as a learning example for myself and for others, because this is just not what you do. I'm going to show you like a tiny screenshot of some of their feedback, and I'll explain it to you. So this tester decided to add a row in between my rows 6 and 7, and then they decided to cut out my very last row. In doing so, that was no longer my pattern. That is not the pattern that I asked them to test. I will say, at the time, even then, I was irate because I knew that this is just something that you don't do. And it's really frustrating to be on the designer end where somebody's like, here, I did this instead, and I think it looked better. Like, okay, great. It's difficult, and I get it from like also the pattern tester perspective. I did this when I was new, and I'm sure I made other people mad and I upset some people. I feel bad about that, but again, it's all just part of the learning process. But at that time, I was irate. I was riled up. I was super upset because obviously I trusted these people to test my pattern and they completely changed it. And, I didn't end up saying anything. And looking at it now, I should have, messaged, DM'd them individually and been like, hey, I really wanted you to test my pattern as is. What you crocheted now isn't my pattern and it's not what I asked you to test. Could you remake it? Or at least say, for next time when you're pattern testing, don't do this, because honestly, the feedback was not then helpful. This tester did have a point in cutting out row 10. Row 10 was not entirely necessary, and it did make me consider that. And so then in the pattern, I wrote that row 10 was optional. But I will say that when you are a pattern tester, the expectation is that you are going to test the pattern and you're not going to change it unless you find mistakes. And I will say that, after pattern testing, if you think, adding that extra row is good, I don't care. Because now you're just crocheting it. You're not pattern testing for me. You don't have to provide me feedback. I don't have to show people that this is what my pattern looks like when really yours looks different compared to the other testers. So, if you're pattern testing and you think, oh, this would be easier if I just did this, maybe present it and say, oh, here's an option for what you could do. But I say, make it the way that it is written. Even if you're like, oh, this could be no sew. That sucks. Make it the way they want you to make it. And then you could maybe pose, oh, I know this technique for how to make it no sew. And then you can see what the designer wants. Okay, I'm just gonna say this for the very last time. No tea, no shade. Okay, enough of me yelling at you. My face is all red from just coughing. Let's get to the fun part, which is pattern testing. Oh no. Whatever, it's fine. Hi. I'm wearing a hat today because we have been stuck in, I don't even know, a snowstorm, a blizzard, something. It's terrible. I was not able to go to school yesterday, Monday, March 26th. Also, I filmed that in January. It's almost April. And we're having a snowstorm. So, yeah, that's the hat. Also, my bangs weren't cooperating. Also, shout out to Web and Thread for my super funny shirt. Go check her out. I'll have her website linked down below. It's amazing. I love it. This shirt is so funny. So, I don't know. I'm trying to catch up on things. I'm 3 videos behind. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But I know that I need to actually film myself pattern testing. So that is finally what we're going to do today. I am going to be pattern testing Poms and Posies Bitty Seabirds. I'm going to be making the penguin one here with you. And I'm going to show you how I do some pattern testing. So let's freaking go. I just got accepted into this pattern test yesterday. And it was perfect because I needed a pattern test for this video. And it's really small bird, very cute, very easy. Okay, so I already went through on the first page and I said, okay, Poms and Posies. She spelled her name right? Sea friends, bitty sea friends, seabirds or whatever. amigurumi pattern, got her logo, the birds. Before you dive in, check the page numbers. This one, I wasn't 100% sure if that's the last page. It might be missing. I wrote that it might be missing. Now, let's go on to the abbreviations and materials. This is the one where I have to, like, read. So, I'm just going to do my green highlighter, and I'm going to check abbreviations. ABBREVIATIONS. Yes. Materials. Yes. Pattern notes. Yes. I mean, that's what I do. MC, magic circle. Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to switch to a smaller one. ST/S stitch is, yes. CH, chain, SLST, slip stitch. And I'm going to try and remember that there's a space in between there and that all of these are lowercase. I'm going to try and remember that. And I'll probably have to double check it, but whatever. SC, single crochet. Yes. HDC, half double crochet. Yep. Increase, increase, decrease, decrease. FO, fasten off. BLO, back loop only. I mean, those all make sense. I know these abbreviations. I'm just trying to look at them, make sure that they're spelled correctly. It makes sense. Stuff like that. Now, materials. 7mm crochet hook. Here's where it gets a little hard. Megan has, like, the tightest tension of anyone that I've ever met. I mean, I haven't met her, but, like, you know what I mean? I do not. I have the loosest tension of anyone that I've ever met or talked to. I use, like, a 6 or a 5mm with Bernat blanket. And I'm pretty sure with this one, she used Bernat blanket. So, yes, she has in the instructions to use a 7mm hook. I'm not going to. I know. But I also know me. And I know that when I pattern tested for her before, I made her Taika, the tiger shark, and I did a 6mm hook. It was fine. Everything lined up. So, there's my 2 cents. Okay, super bulky 6 yarn. That's Bernat. Polyester, yes. Toy stuffing, yes. Large darning needle, yes. I didn't know that they were called darning needles for the longest time. I just thought it was a needle. Or like a yarn needle. Whatever. Scissors, yes. Stitch markers, yes. 10mm safety eyes. Yeah, I have 10. Optional black worsted weight yarn. Optional worsted weight yarn. Yes, for embroidered eyes. Like, literally, it's obnoxious, but that's what I have to do. Pattern notes. This amigurumi pattern is worked in continuous rounds. Do not slip stitch or chain one to join at the end of each round. 100%. And her slip stitch does have the space. So far, that's consistent. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch of each round. Do I do that? I placed mine in the last, I think. But, whatever. Blanket and chenille yarn can be a bit delicate if you have not worked with it before. Pull gently to close your magic circle, and when closing your work, I just read that wrong. If you feel resistance, gently wiggle the yarn tail until it gives, or you risk it breaking. Yeah, that makes sense. Coloring it in. Maintain tight stitches throughout so stuffing does not show through. Stuffing. Maintain tight stitches throughout so the stuffing does not show through. Maintain tight stitches throughout so stuffing does not show through. It's fine. Special stitches 3 loop bobble. Okay. She doesn't have YO in the abbreviation. So I'm going to recommend that she adds it to her abbreviations with a question mark because it makes it look more friendly. Insert hook into the stitch, pull up a loop. Yep. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook. Repeat. Repeat once more. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. I might have to double check because... Okay. Yarn over, insert hook and stitch. Pull through a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook. Repeat once more. Yarn over, insert, yarn over. I think that works. I'll double check. The 4-loop bobble, same steps as a 3-loop bobble, but you repeat 2 times. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Yep. 2024 Poms and Posies, all rights reserved. This pattern and all of its contents are for personal use only. You may not sell, copy, or distribute any of this pattern. You are welcome to sell finished products made from this pattern, but I ask that you credit Poms and Posies for the design. Perfect. This is good. Now, I'm not going to show you the pattern because that's illegal. And because I really do. I love Megan. She's amazing. I've tested for her before. Dream come true. But let's get started. And for this, I'm going to do yarning under. Megan yarns over. I know this because we've had discussions. But her tension is so tight that it practically looks like she's yarning under because all of her colors and everything line up so perfectly because she's such a tight crocheter and I don't understand how her hands can survive. So I'm going to use my 6mm hook. I'm going to yarn under and I'm going to get started. So I'm looking, purl the baby penguin, Penguin. I know how to spell penguin. I don't know. Start in black. I'm starting in black. Let's see. And I'm yarning under. Row 1, it says row 1, 6 and 6. Boom. We're good. Color change. And if you can see my head like nodding like this, that's me counting stitches. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's almost like a music thing in me where it's like I move with the beat. I'm moving with my counting for sure. And again, it was row 2 and I got the correct amount of stitches. So we're doing good. Oh, I don't think she has CC abbreviated. So I'm going to add a note. Add CC to your abbreviations. And now I'm color changing, I think. I also love the way that she writes her color changes. It makes it so easy. Whereas some people just say, like, I don't even know how to explain it. They don't make it make sense. That doesn't make sense when I say that, but I don't know, like you can't really tell which stitch you're supposed to color change in. And like, so with my giant whale shark, who you can't see right now, it was impossible. I had to go through and pre-write which stitch I needed to switch colors on. Very difficult. I lost count of my stitches though, so that means I have to go back. We are doing well. She said I needed scissors. I need scissors. I just can't freaking find them. I just got an extra stitch, so this is problematic. I think what's happening is I don't know how to count when I color change. And now I have 3 colors going at once. Can you see this? I have 3 colors going at once. I'm snipping them. Snip. Snap. I'll leave you for a moment. But I'm definitely securing this little guy's nose and tying off this black. A lot of times when I'm doing color changes, I will pop it inside out and then pop it back into the right way and then just use the ends as stuffing, especially for a little guy that's just gonna be this small. He's so tiny. He's so tiny and cute. I want to see a picture of them face on because I do feel like his nose looks a little zigzaggedy, but that also is just crochet. Don't mind me just blowing away the black yarn fuzzies everywhere. Yarning under. This is getting interesting because now that I'm good at yarning under, it's also become natural, and then it feels so natural that I begin to question whether I'm yarning under or not. Snip. Now, that was row 5, and that makes sense. But I might recount the stitches. Perfect. We have the perfect stitch count. I'm very happy, and I'm going to continue yarning under. All right, the pattern says to add the eyes. I'm going to add the eyes. Mine looks really angry. I don't know what I did. He looks really angry and his eyes look crooked. But if I put them in the other way, this one, no. Yeah, I think I put this one in the wrong spot. I'm gonna keep going though. I mean, it's a tiny thing. I can make another one of the birds and see how the eyes look and where they go. There's this other thing, I guess, within pattern testing that I really struggle with. Let's show my face for this because this is kind of serious, and it's perfectionism. I have shown like some of my color work and stuff to Megan when I did the tiger shark, and I was like, I can redo it, like the color work looks like shit and I don't like it, or like it turned out crooked, like, you know, whatever, like I'm sorry, like I can make another one yarning under. And then she'll respond to me and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? I mean, she doesn't say that. I mean, she probably thinks it because she's like, it's crochet, bro. It's not supposed to be perfect. Like, even right now, like this black and white right there, and like that black and that black is bothering me. And when you look at hers, well, her color changes looks really freaking good. But like, if you look at other people's color changes and other things like that, like, that's just what happens in crochet. And so for me to get so hung up on it is dumb. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. But I also feel like, you know, these people trusted me with pattern testing, and if I can't, you know, do it perfectly or, you know, do it as good as they did it, I'm not doing my job as a pattern tester. And I don't know, it's just something I wanted to bring up and something that I struggle with. Struggling with it right now because I want this guy to be freaking cute. And I mean, he's cute. I just feel like I messed up his eye. Like, that one just needs to be... Sorry, I'm just like squishing his head all around. It just needs to be more straight. I don't know. Okay, so this little guy's feet are not lining up. I think I'm going to hit pause on him. I'm gonna maybe skip and go and do Skipper the seagull, yarning over, and then I'm going to see if that lines up, and then if it does, I'm just going to, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do that. So we're starting over. And that happens. So now we're gonna make Skipper. Skipper's body is all white. I'm gonna be yarning over for this to see if maybe that is why Miss Pearl's feet did not line up. Oh, and it'd be good to see how the eyes are placed on this one. So we've run into an issue. The legs are not lining up for this guy or this guy. So I messaged Megan and I'm going to wait until I get a response. I'm back. I got a response and I'm moving them because she said I could, because I asked, because I wanted to make sure, and she said I could. So now I just have to keep track of how far I move the legs. She's messaging me right now as I'm trying to do this. So I'm like, trying to see what she says. It is looking much better. I finished making 2. I made this one yarning under, this one yarning over. I like this one more. I think I combined new Bernat blanket with old Bernat blanket. No, this guy is all new Bernat blanket. Very cute. Check out Poms and Posies. It is a low-sew pattern. All you have to sew on is the wings. I was just outside. The snow already melted, but filming a little reel of this guy because the weather's insane. So, of course, I had to crochet a penguin because it feels like we live in Antarctica. So, between these two guys, I moved the feet after talking to Megan because they weren't lining up, so I left a note on what I did. I also made a note wondering where we place the eyes, how far away from the beak. I recommend 1 stitch. I also left a note asking where we sew on the wings. I know some people are really specific and want to know what row. I made that note. I found 1 row she forgot to write in which color we're changing colors to, and then she forgot to bold 1 color change. So, yeah, I mean, easy peasy. I still need to make the Bluefoot Booby and Chip the Lovebird. I think I'm actually going to use Chip and try and make the Stardew Valley parrot. My friends and I have been really addicted to playing Stardew Valley. We have a co-op now. I've played solo by myself for like a couple of years now. It's very, very fun. So I think I'm going to do that. But that pretty much wraps up this video. If you have any questions relating to pattern testing, really anything that I talked about, leave me a comment, message me. I love answering people's questions. It's, you know, it's a part of like what I do and the way that I, you know, talk to other crocheters. Make sure you check out my Instagram to see the other 2 versions of these guys that I'm going to pattern test. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!